I just want to point out the sort of polarities that are happening under the hood here of this, which is a lot of what Bryan and I notice when we're with couples is we can feel the sort of energetic dance that's happening. And there's a shadow and light to this dance. And on the toxic cycle side, the shadow side, I've sort of been hinting at it. What is often happening is an anxious avoidant cycle. Right. And this has become more and more popular these days. If any of you have heard of attachment theory, right? And so we often form an insecure attachment when we're young. And this really starts to form even when you're 1, 2, 3 years old, really young, and you have your attachment figure, which could be your mother or your dad or any caretaker in your life that's really significant. And if you have a very secure attachment, in this case, we mean this in a positive sense, like not like you're attached and codependent, but literally that your feeling of connection to those caregivers feels really secure. You're not questioning it.
It's not threatened.
It's not threatened. And as a child, you either feel loved or lovable, or you don't, and you question that. And when that's really solid, you're like, as a child, you might not say these words, but there's this feeling of, oh, I'm loved. I feel there's safety and love and belonging here, right? And when you have all that love, safety, and belonging, there's a security in you as a child that forms really young, that allows you to transcend a lot of the anxious and avoidant, insecure attachment that can occur. But for many of us, we do question, are we loved? Are we lovable? Right? Is this environment I'm in with these caregivers, is there love, safety, and belonging? Do I belong to this family or am I pushed out? Is it safe, like both in a literal physical sense and even in an emotional sense? Am I safe to be myself, to be me? And is there love? So these questions get answered when we're young. And if we question it, either mildly or extremely, we can form what they call an insecure attachment. And there's usually two primary reactions to that insecurity. If we're like, well, maybe I'm not lovable, maybe it isn't safe, maybe I don't belong. If we start having those questions in our mind at a young age with our caregivers, then we can do one of two things. And those two things are, we either get anxious, and which means that we want to cling to that and say, well, love me, come get closer, right? We'll cling on in our anxiety as our reaction to that insecurity to try to hold on to any love and safety that we can find there by almost merging into the people around us. And we merge, sending all of our energy into them so that we don't even have our own sovereign nervous system anymore. We're sort of keying off of our partners. And because our partners or our caregivers are changing all the time, we're sort of at the mercy of whether they're showing us love or not. We don't have our own sovereign sense of, oh, I'm safe, I'm secure. If you're in the anxious pattern, if they're looking at you and paying attention to you, giving you love, then you can feel it. But the moment they turn away, maybe the phone rings and they pick up something else, or maybe they go make dinner, or it could be even a subtle motion that they make where in a moment you were reaching, and then in that moment, their husband or wife called them and they turned around and boom, you were rejected and left and abandoned in that moment. And if you are insecure, you make up the story that you are unsafe. And that's the anxious pattern where you want to cling on and connect and merge with those around you. That's only one response to that insecure attachment. The other response is, it's actually the same fundamental question. Am I loved? Am I lovable? Is there love, safety, and belonging around me? You question that. And instead of clinging, you avoid. You're like, well, wow, this love thing, this love game, this connecting to other people is completely unsafe. I'm going to avoid it altogether because it's too painful, because I want to avoid feeling rejected. I want to avoid feeling like I'm not okay as I am. I want to avoid feeling like I can't express myself. I want to avoid being so vulnerable that I would open myself up to be hurt. And so that's in the moment in a young child where they close off and they shut down, and then they don't even reach anymore, and they distance themselves. They stop being affectionate, they stop being loving with their parents, and they start believing that they can't get that from anyone.